The gold rooms are private places inside the Gold Club. According to the club's own paperwork, which they must provide the city, there is nothing illegal, and it will be up to the club attorney, Alan Begner, to defend that position tonight before the Liquor License Review Board.
But I don't think there's going to be live testimony, although there may be.
But one board member told me the matter needs to be dealt with, and the public, including religious leaders, is watching. The city contends it's justified in trying to lift the club's liquor license because allowing it to operate as usual would be a threat to the community. I asked one woman who works near the club about that.
Well, I work down here in the daytime, and I have not seen any negativity. Everybody that works there, I usually walk through there, and everybody's nice, they're friendly, they speak.
These two visitors told me they enjoy adult entertainment and don't want to see the Gold Club close before the criminal allegations are dealt with.
Right. You got to have this type of entertainment. Why would a city this size not contain something like this?
When you say you got to have it, why do you have to have it?
Well, we're all different. We all don't go to the same church. We all don't.
If people are going to it, let them go. I mean, that's my opinion.
Right. Now, how about if let's say, if your husband or something went to it?
Oh, well, if he went, he went. I mean, but as long as he come back home, okay.
But at the last hearing, the city says even after the Gold Club was raided last spring, alleged criminal activity continued. Gold Club. The U.S. Attorney's Office claims the owner, Steve Kaplan, oversaw a myriad of alleged criminal activities, from credit card fraud to mob payoffs to prostitution, among other things.
Larry, you getting in?
On Friday, two of the figures in a federal indictment prepared to leave the courthouse after getting bond. Their attorney told reporters the charges against the club are ludicrous, and even the city's own permit inspector gave the operation a glowing report.
We have testimony from the Department of Permits Officer Tom Alexander with respect to the operation in Gold Club, and to quote Mr. Alexander, it is considered the best run, the most law-abiding club in Atlanta.
Larry Bronson says the Gold Club can mount a vigorous defense. There may have been some misconduct, but nothing, he contends, approaches what's in the federal indictment,
including over 500 employees at any particular time. They have managed to ring together a series of events, which is probably 6 or 7 over a period of 5 years, which were done in isolated fashion by managers or other employees of the club who were fired or terminated for their improper conduct.
His premier adult entertainment establishment. Federal law enforcement officials call this nightclub a criminal enterprise. Its owner, Steve Kaplan, a man with deep connections to the New York infamous Gambino crime family. Back in March, FBI, IRS, and U.S. Attorney officials seized hundreds of documents from the club. Today, U.S. Attorney Richard Dean says he believes owners removed $5 to $10 million before the siege. Neighbors who have fought the club from its beginnings 13 years ago are saying, "We told you so."
It should not be here. It's not just me. If you do your investigation and reveal the true nature of the Gold Club, this is not just a local, small-time strip club.
The indictment was unsealed today, and we're making it public today. The indictment charges that these defendants committed various crimes related to the operation of the Gold Club, an adult entertainment club here in the metro area. Specifically, the defendants are alleged to have committed mail fraud, money laundering, loan sharking, obstruction of justice, and making payments to police officers. Some of these crimes are alleged to have been in connection with Kaplan's involvement and connections to the Gambino organized crime family in New York. The indictment alleges that Kaplan took over the operation of the Gold Club in approximately 1994, and that in exchange for protection payments, Kaplan received favors from the Gambino crime family in protection for his nightclub operation. The indictment also alleges that Kaplan and others skimmed cash from the proceeds of the business. The purpose of these schemes, of course, were to evade payment of taxes, to provide cash to employees, and to have cash available to make payments to the Gambino crime family. In sum, the indictment charges that Kaplan and others operated the Gold Club as part of a criminal enterprise and that in doing so, the defendants engaged in prostitution, which involved interstate means, that they involved or were engaged in and committed acts of credit card fraud, that they engaged in money laundering with respect to the earnings and the proceeds from the business operation, and further that they engaged in loan sharking activities, among various other criminal enterprise. And further, that they obstructed the operation of police investigations and as well as a federal investigation into some of their criminal activities. Further, and perhaps most importantly and dangerous with respect to this investigation, there's also allegations in the indictment of payments to police officers to obstruct, to provide warnings, and to provide advance information concerning police investigations.
Contractor Doug Long had hoped would never come.
I'm very disappointed. I think that they should not have just picked on him. It should be every club in Atlanta. I do believe that they selectively went after this man. I've been down here for 3 years. I haven't seen anything that they've accused him of. No different than any other club.
A handful of employees with long faces came and went all day. Steve Kaplan bought the Buckhead landmark back in 1994. A federal source tells Fox 5 News U.S. Marshals will pull the plug on the most profitable strip club in the U.S. in a matter of hours.
It will probably not be any later than tonight, if at all.
Why did it change?
There seems to be some misunderstanding as to what the terms of the agreement are. The agreement was that he had to give up the club in order to protect those employees that were on trial, and that's what he chose to do.
What prompted all this kind of sudden?
The agreement was that he had to give up the club in order to protect those employees that were on trial, and that's what he chose to do.
What prompted all this?
Why you broke my car, and why you tried to hit me, fight me, why you cuss me?
He was introduced to Steve Kaplan, the owner, and to a manager of the club, both of whom accompanied Ewing to the VIP room. Ewing's testimony: 2, maybe 3 dancers were there. They danced, started fondling me. I got aroused. They performed oral sex on me. The prosecutor: did you tip the girls this time? Ewing: no. I was told it was taken care of. The prosecutor: was Steve and Ziggy in there the entire time you were? Ewing: yes. Ewing estimated he visited the club about 10 times during the 1990s. Twice he says he received sexual favors. The attorney for owner Kaplan tried to get across the point that Ewing did not go to the Gold Club with the expectation of getting sex. Defense attorney Steve Kaplan questioning Ewing. You didn't consider yourself to be involved in an act of prostitution, did you? Ewing, no.
Just it's going to be titillating, but it is not evidence of anything charged in the indictment. I don't know why the prosecution is calling this witness other than to embarrass him. It has nothing to do with the charges in the indictment.
Does it take the trial to another level, though, in terms of just showing the connection?
Only in publicity. There is nothing that any professional athlete is going to testify about that's charged in that indictment. It's a disgrace to embarrass them in that way.
Under a plea agreement, Gold Club owner Steve Kaplan could be sent to prison for 3 years. He has now paid $5 million to the government, plus $300,000 in restitution, most of it to victims of credit card fraud.